Our vision in Aarthi Scans and Labs is the cost to diagnose the disease should not make a patient poor. That is, treatment becomes unaffordable, and that's the vision we believe is worth fighting for. Aarthi Scans and Labs is a 24-year-old company. It was started in the year 1999. So we started doing predominantly radiology, which is CT scans, MR scans, and others. And the last 10 years, we started doing pathology as well, routine blood tests, and up to microbiology, everything we do. We started just in Tamil Nadu, actually in southern Tamil Nadu, in a place called Tirunelveli. Then we came to Chennai by the year 2004. Then we ventured into Bangalore by 2015, into Hyderabad by 2019. And at present, we are India's largest radiology service provider with around 60 branches. Aarthi Scans, we've always been operationally very strong, but whereas back-end is considered like when it comes to accounts or HR or inventory management, we have struggled, especially since the pandemic. We had shortages of stock during the pandemic. We didn't know how much inventory we carried during a pandemic. Supply chain was disrupted. We didn't know what was the demand the next month, the next week. We didn't know what was the demand back then. So we faced some issues. We were using Tally before that. It had its own limitations. We were using it, but it had its own limitations. So that's when we realized that we need to stitch this process together if we need to scale further up in India. So the first point which we considered was affordability. Second point was features. It should not be a multiple ERP stitched together. It should be one ERP as a solution, a monolithic software. That would be a good solution. Third thing was scalability. So these were our initial considerations when we look for ERP products. We considered a few other products, but NetSuite we thought was, since it had a monolithic architecture and everything was within the product itself, and nothing was acquired or fused together, we thought NetSuite would be a good solution for us. And we look for our bigger competitors as well. So NetSuite had presence in one of our competitors also. So we thought they may have some experience in the healthcare and the diagnostics. We have mostly sales process is something which we saw rapid change in once we installed NetSuite. Tallying these across 60 branches, across 60 cashiers, across 120 odd TID machines and multiple UPI IDs was very, very difficult. We didn't know where the cash in transit was, which company like Razorpay or PhonePe or even HDFC or CMS provider, where the cash was lying, how much was lying with them, did they pay it correctly the next day, did they transfer it back to our bank account correctly. So that we didn't have much control over. We had a worry about that. So that was one process which got streamlined very, very quickly. Using NetSuite, we got to know what was the cash in transit, what was the cash which needs to be given back to us at the end of the next day. So we had some good clarity on that. And the second point I would say was in expenses, approval flows. As I said previously, we were using Tally, not much approval flows regards to that. But in NetSuite, with our channel partner, we had a good approval flow for expenses as well as asset purchases, based on multiple categories. So that I found once again more control over our own business. That's what NetSuite helped us. We have, as I said, 60 branches. These are all small, not small branches. Everything has a CT, MR, everything. So they were pretty inventory heavy branches. So purchasing 60 different user licenses was one of our initial, let's say, block for us. But we discussed with our partner, ABSOL, and they gave us a unique solution in the sense we could use a mobile app in the branches, and we could use NetSuite user ID, NetSuite actual front-end web-based user IDs in our main zonal stores. So the mobile app helped us in reducing the user count without sacrificing any functionality. I think that was one unique customization which we did through NetSuite. So ABSOL as a team, we sat together, we discussed, they got to know our business, they sat in our cashier counters, they sat in our receptions, they sat in our stores initially to develop the operating procedure. We as a company, we have a standard operating procedure for all the clinical needs, but for back-end needs like inventory or accounts, we actually didn't have a standard operating procedure for most of them. ABSOL actually helped us in making a few of those SOPs and putting them into the system, which is NetSuite. They observed, and then they took some time observing, and then they devised the solution which was customized to us. So as I said, sales process is pretty much standardized for us now with NetSuite. Expenses flow and payments for assets and vendors, these are pretty standardized, very useful and unique features in NetSuite. But where we see NetSuite helping us more is in collection of payments. We have tied up with multiple private limited companies, multiple insurance providers, multiple even government entities like CGHS and others. So having a track of those, getting a roll-up billing, roll-up invoice for the entire month in NetSuite, following up them, seeing the days of cash lying with them, due bills lying with them. So stuff like this as we increase the number of branches, this is going to be more and more complex. I think NetSuite would, hoping NetSuite would help us more in that front also. One bit of advice I would like to give is, we took some time getting into NetSuite from coming from Tally. It took us around 6 to 9 months to fully understand the product. While designing the system, we made a lot of changes to our SOP. So something which I would advise is get your SOP together before venturing into NetSuite. Try to do the usual routine paperwork processes as efficiently as possible before coming to NetSuite. It will make you more efficient and lesser time is spent in figuring out NetSuite.
I'm Dr. Prasanna Vignesh, Director of Aarthi Scans. I'm taking care of operations here, and we are headquartered in Vadaparni in Chennai. So at Aarthi Scans, I'm in charge of projects, also future expansion as such. I take care of the sites where we have to have our new centers, and basically I prepare a project report, and I also have to make sure the center is up and running on time. So in the last 3 years, we have expanded to about 70 centers, and out of which about 33 are in the last 3 years as such. So we currently are the largest chain of diagnostic centers in terms of the number of MRIs that we hold. So we have 70 MRIs right now, and also we have some 100 hub and spoke type of collection centers. So our plan is to increase the 70 odd MRI centers to 100 in the next 3 years. In the last 3 years, our turnover has also increased from a mere 100 odd crores to this year we will be closing at about 330 for the 24-25 current year. So we didn't have a proper integrated model for expenses as well as the inventory and store management. With ABSOL, I think, not just the sales and the expenses, we are also integrating the store and the inventory management. In future, we also plan to have a proper software in place for project management. I am in projects, and this is going to be really helpful because we can keep track of the expenses, and there's a proper maker and checker mechanism with NetSuite, and I think ABSOL has also done a good job. We've also done our second round of training because there are new employees who also want to get trained as such in NetSuite. And I think the software as such has been very useful, and we've been very happy with the way it has been integrated into the system by ABSOL. And with our future expansion to about 100 centers, I think the software is going to play a major role. I think the difference between Tally and NetSuite comes in a way that there are more controls in this. This is more customizable, and it is not just about sales. Here there is an integration between sales, expenses, the inventory and store management, as well as projects. So when we grow to about 500 or 600 odd crores, I think we need a robust software which has a lot of check and control mechanisms, which I feel is better in NetSuite than any other software.